People tend to look at rosé and find very light wines. However, when you use old vines, like Darling Cellar is using in the range Old Bush Vines, using Cinsaut grape to produce their Rosé 2021, what is the effect of old vines in your glass for a rosé? Because very often producers tend to use their youngest vine to do rosé, not something that produce concentration.
Well, this wine is opening up in the glass. But to go back to your question, I think what the old vines have produced here is potentially a little bit of colour, which is really quite striking and unusual. For me, I described this as a sunset pink because of all the orange tones.
Sunset pink?
Yeah, there
That's
you go.
such a romantic name.
It is. Should it maybe be sunset orange? But anyway, I call it sunset pink because of all the orange, almost coppery hints in this wine. So it is a very distinct colour and very distinct from the pretty pinks. And then maybe you're going to love this descriptor as well, the Bollywood pinks that we sometimes get on our rosés in South Africa.
Bollywood pink.
Bollywood pink. Beautiful
You
pink.
should trademark these names.
Think of a beautiful pink, bright pink, shocking pink sari. We could call it fuchsia, but let's call it Bollywood pink. So that's one thing I think we're getting from the old vines. The other thing I think we could be getting from the old vines here is not really a clearly defined fruit character for me. I get some apples, red apples and green apples. But for me, there is a definite savoury character to this wine. It's almost as if it's been spiced with old oak as well. There's a distinct spiciness, a subtle earthiness on both the nose and the palate, and then for me, a little bit of meatiness.
I agree with you.
Sucking sweets on the palate.
I agree on the sweetiness. I even found some of, when I was in the kitchen, the veal stock. And yes, it's probably because Cinsaut has been made extremely reductively, because it's where old vines, and we all know that old vines are naturally more reductive in the way they are there, because they got thicker skins, they got more antioxidant in the extract. And even if it seems like a light extract because it's been made rosé, clearly the old vine goes through. And that makes a wine which is very upfront, very textured, and which almost the finish doesn't seem to be aligned with such a broad shoulder wine.
Yeah.
But very round on the finish. Don't expect a sharp acidity here. I think even if the acidity is decent on the paper, the intensity of the old vines make that the roundness takes over in this wine.
So the texture is the shape is round, the texture is a little bit viscous, even though it's only 11.5% alcohol, but there is a certain slipperiness. What's it? The grapes with the slippery skins that we eat, Cordoba grapes.
Yeah.
So if you can imagine that kind of slipperiness that you get between the skin and the fruit when it is ripe, that's the kind of texture I'm feeling or thinking about when I drink this. And then, it's quite dense and it finishes with
dense,
a little bit
upfront,
freshness.
Slightly viscous, and a slightly darker color.
Yep.
That's good markers and good for a banking wine, which is a Cinsaut Rosé from the Old Bush Vine collection from Darling Cellar Wine Origin, Darling 2021. Thank you.